Welcome to the Outer Fringe.
Hey, it's Sarah here. I feel like I am part of the cool guys club right now. Get to sit here with these two awesome dudes, and I'm super looking forward to it. We've got David Henry here, and Joseph Lyle is back. He's filling in for Brian, who is gallivanting through Spain right now. So welcome, David.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited you're here. I don't know if we'll have anything to talk about. I mean, we had coffee the other day and it was only 2.5 hours
I think we covered it all, yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for being here, Joseph. Thanks for filling in.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So how has your day been? How's your guys' day been so far?
Day's been good. It was pretty casual morning, I suppose, with the girlfriend, and I have a new kitten. So that's pretty interesting.
Aww.
It's adorable, and we called it Earl Grey. It's amazing.
That's a good name.
That's a really good
I have to give credit for my friend Sierra for coming up with that. But, so he's pretty cool. Getting used to him. He's super adorable. Just a fun morning playing on the couch with a cat, basically. And then drove over here and showed up a little early.
That's a good
I was saying I'm
morning.
cursed with timeliness.
That's amazing.
That's a good thing. I'm working on that. You know what? Because I was talking about that the other day. Like, I'm really good with time when it comes to, like, social things. But when it comes to work, I
Don't want to go.
No.
That's like the gym for me. It's like it comes to the gym, I don't ever
Yeah.
show up.
I know. It's like I am what they want. They want people that want to go to the gym
Right.
to get a membership. Like I really want to, but
Yeah, full intention.
Don't actually show
never
up yet.
actually do.
Never actually use the facility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exercise going.
I do, like, I think they always kind of laugh at me because I'll literally go in and I'll leave 10 minutes later. I'm like, I went to the gym.
Yeah.
I did it. I
Chore
lifted
complete.
like 2 weights and I'm done. I'm out. I like to stretch. I use the mats and the foam roller and then I'm good. I hate the gym.
Last time, I thought that I was gonna do like 100 flights of stairs on the stair stepper machine, and I was just like in game mode, and I think I got like 26 flights up. And I couldn't move. I had to hit the button, and like I was dying. I'm in horrible shape though, obviously.
I'm sure not. It's just, I think there's
hard.
something about working out around other people too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I start to become self-conscious and I'm like, that person's killing it over there. And I always want to try the Jacob's ladder because I go to the Y. And I would be that girl that would like get tangled up in it and like end up breaking something, and someone would post it on YouTube as like,
Yeah, it's like
A funny
using the
meme.
machine wrong. Yeah,
Oh,
it's like
God.
there's definitely a YouTube video out there like people using gym machines wrong.
yeah,
And I don't
yeah.
ever want to be
I
on
feel
it.
like that might be in my future. So I'm a
Yeah,
little
I'll stick to the
hesitant.
stretching. I'm with you. I'm like stretching, sauna.
Yeah,
That's
saunas are the best.
that's about as far as I go.
I tried a sauna last night, the climbing gym.
Oh, cool! Like the
Oh, I
motoring
wanna go
gym.
there.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do it for so long, but I've been afraid because my nails like, and it inhibits me because I can't get deep into the latch or whatever.
Sure.
And it's like scary because it hurts if they break, but it's
Which
so much
climbing
fun.
gym? Is it the one in Garden City?
Yeah, it's right next to the Revolution.
Yes, I wanna go
went with my
there.
coworker. Yeah, it was awesome.
I used to climb all the time in Minneapolis, and when I say all the time, I went like 10 times. So
Nice.
it's a
It's
big deal.
awesome. No,
I've done
I
a
love
little
it.
bit. Yeah,
It's kind
Yeah.
of scary when you get up high though. Like I was freaking out.
That's
I
good
don't wanna
though.
fall.
Like doing things you fear are so good because I've always been scared of heights, so that's why I did it. Because I'm like, I don't want to walk around with this like irrational fear. Because there's things that I should be afraid of, but how
But if
often?
you know that you can like catch yourself or like
Yeah.
self-rescue, then you don't fear it quite as much.
yeah, it kind of gets rid of the irrational part of the
So
fear.
like
I
if you're
mean,
afraid that you're going to be a serial killer, you should give it a shot to make sure that.
just
to
try it
learn your
out with
lesson.
small animals first,
Yeah.
and then.
I completely agree.
like mosquitoes.
Yeah, they suck.
Did you guys?
I'm
used to
probably a
burn
serial killer
ants?
because I love killing mosquitoes.
I used to burn ants with a magnifying glass, and now I feel bad about it.
Yeah, probably should.
It's kind of a violent action.
It's mean.
malicious.
It's mean. I had an older brother though, and yeah.
We ate some ants. I went out with a. This is a true story. Actually, I ate some Mormon crickets too. It was
Wait.
so. Yeah, so I have a friend. His name's Ty. We won't say last name, but not because I'm going to say anything wrong against him. But he's very into like Native American stuff, like we were talking about the other day. And so he took me out in the Owahis this past it was earlier summer. I think it was maybe into May, and and we went out and like harvested like some purple sage and a bunch of other like wild plants and stuff that because I showed interest and he was like, "Well, come out." And we were out there for a couple days, and he would just kind of pick up bugs and just eat them, and like just to see what they tasted like, pretty much. Wow. And he was like, "Try it," and he was like, "Try this ant." He's like, "Usually ants are like kind of citrusy. They kind of like have a citric acid. They're like a little bit sour, but they're not bad." Like, so I tried a couple different ants and they were pretty good. I mean, not bad. It was just kind of like you bite the head off first so it doesn't bite you inside your mouth, which they can do. So you got to be careful. You got to crush their brain first, basically, with your teeth or something on your body. But and basically we were harvesting this certain type of sage, which was in this like kind of a little gully, and then like he started noticing like all these Mormon crickets that were jumping off the sagebrush. And he was like, "Oh, we can grab these and we can cook them up later, you know." So we had like bags and we started like, and basically what happens is like they are all like kind of sitting on top of the sagebrush like in the sun and like trying to get warm because they're cold-blooded, obviously. And when you get close to them, they hear the vibrations, they feel the vibrations in the earth, so they all just kind of jump down to the bottom of the sage plant to protect themselves, which is not very much protection if you're a human and you figure that out, because you basically just go up there and you pick them all up at the bottom of the thing. You use gloves because they are kind of like aggressive little guys, but and they not like they'll necessarily bite you, but they like scrape you with their like legs and stuff, and like I don't know, but but so they also go through like a bunch of different phases, right? So they were like in their like maybe third phase of life or something, so they're still like kind of small, like yellowish red little crickets. They're not like the big black ones that like shut down the highways and stuff, right, from the mass hordes and stuff. So these are a little bit smaller because they go through like 7 different life stages or something. But anyway, we ended up cooking them like in basically butter on the campfire, like in a pot, and put them like in tacos with like some avocado. And if you do ever end up eating crickets or any kind of beetles, the trick is to fry them up really good, like fry them up like, you know, to where they're really crispy, like, you know, and then you put them like in a paper bag and you shake them and all their legs fall off because their legs are like super like grippy and they have these little like barbed hooks on them, and that's how they can like climb up pretty much anything or, you know, whatever. And if you what'll happen if you don't get the legs off is like they kind of get like you know how brisket or something will get stuck in your tooth?
I think
but it's more like a little it's more like a little cricket leg.
People eat weird shit all over the world, though. It's not that...
It didn't bother me at all. Like,
yeah, it's not... I mean, think about if, like, we are in a situation where we have to figure... I mean, it's good to know that
And, I mean,
stuff.
but I think most of the time... So, and I was kind of asking him about it as we're doing this, and he was like, you know, Native Americans, what they would do is they would just harvest them in huge amounts, you know, dry them basically, and then they grind them up into like a protein powder, and they just use that as like a, you know, soup base, or like, you know, put it into their bread or whatever, you know. So it's not like you were actually eating a cricket, you know, you're just using the protein from it.
I could maybe do it that way.
Yeah.
As long as I don't
you wouldn't
know. What the hell
you wouldn't, as long as you didn't know.
I couldn't be like,
yeah, you're not gonna pick
biting
the
the head off and shit though. Like, no. Picking the legs off and just be like, this looks really tasty.
My mom grew up in Africa and used to eat crickets like right off the fireplace. They'd throw them in a pan.
Right.
I don't get it.
No, I mean, I think that technically it's a really renewable protein source compared to like cattle or something like that. You know,
right.
I mean, it doesn't taste quite as good as
because if you really look at like things we eat, there's a lot. Like we eat eggs. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
We're eating like chicken embryos. Like that's weird. When you really start looking at...
except we're so used to it. It's like
it's like
normalized, right?
That's it. Yeah, we're used to it. It's all about conditioning. You grow up thinking, this is an okay thing to eat, but crickets, man, I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know, you never know. Maybe you've already eaten some.
Do you think it makes...
Probably. I'm sure I have. And some spiders.
I wonder if it makes me more bug-like. Like, if you consume a creature...
You're like consuming that energy of the cricket.
Well, we probably all come from bugs.
Yeah, I could like jump like 15 feet in the air the next day. It was really weird. No.
Gives you superhuman.
What was that movie, like Outer Limits, where like the kid at the very end, he like jumps off of the satellite? It's like an old, like, I think it's either 90s or 80s, like, extraterrestrial movie. And he, like, pops his legs the opposite direction.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And just, like, bounds off.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Like, I really wanted to have legs like that when I was a kid.
that scene, I totally remember it.
It's like the very end, they're
weird.
like... Yeah,
reverse
it's like they're,
legs, yeah.
Yeah, they're, like, sitting on the... And it's like, you don't know if this kid's an alien or not for sure. But he's standing there, and it's like the scientists at the very end, and they're on, like, this big satellite dish. and then he just like jumps off the set, like pops his legs the other direction, and just jumps off and like bounds away through like the cornfield or whatever it was. I don't remember.
Dude,
exactly.
yeah, we put a mask on one time, like a Halloween mask where the face was on her back, and would like walk backwards towards people with our arms out, dude. And it was so creepy. It looks so messed up with the reverse legs.
I want to see that.
I can see that. Yeah,
I want to see that.
Picturing it. And
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
It's weird how like certain scenes from movies
Oh my
stick with you,
gosh.
like the train spotting scene where the baby's on the ceiling.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that one, like, I
That's
can't,
tough.
I will never erase that from my
Yeah.
image.
Yeah, that's a really tough one.
Do you remember that? The baby when it was crawling on the ceiling and then its head, like,
on that movie.
and
Because
on
they,
train
'cause
spotting.
they kill the baby, or they leave
They leave
they
the
don't
baby.
take care of the baby and it dies.
So, it's like,
Because they're all like addicted to heroin or whatever.
God.
You know?
Oh.
That movie.
I always get like that one and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels confused, which are totally opposite movies.
But it
But
had,
for
was
some
that
reason-
the same director, maybe?
I don't know, but I always get them confused
Or
for
it's
some
similar.
reason. One's
It's
like a
kinda that
fun-loving
similar.
like crime movie, and the other one's like babies dying like heroin users. It's terrible.
A good movie, though.
It is a good movie.
God.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we could just sit here and talk about movies for 2 hours. That would be enough.
I would learn a lot.
I would like.
Yeah. I'm trying to step away from my Netflix addiction. I shamefully watched the entire... I'm so embarrassed to admit this. I watched The Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce. I watched the entire... like every season. And I'm so embarrassed about it and so ashamed that I can't believe I watched that. And I can't believe I wasted my time watching that. And after that, I'm like, I'm done with Netflix for a while. And like, that is just completely like unacceptable that I did that. And I don't even know how I got hooked on it.
Did it take you like a couple days, or is this like a week-long process?
Like a couple months.
Okay, see that's pretty reasonable. I think if you
Yeah.
like just sat there and like wasted like 48 hours straight.
No, Brian and I did that with Game of Thrones, but that's different. Well, it wasn't that long, but we did a marathon because we had to catch up on this last season. So we
Sure.
like spent, I think, 6 hours one day watching Game of Thrones.
See,
like
my-
I had to peel my ass off the couch. I had a leg cramp because I'd been sitting so long. And
See, my whole idea of
dumb.
Game of Thrones and like any kind of series like that is I'm just gonna save it until I'm like 90 years old and I break my hip or something, right? And I have to like
wait
sit.
for an accident.
Yeah, I have to sit there. Like I don't
Housebound.
want to. Like you said, I don't want to, because I feel guilty about it. I don't want to purposely choose to just sit here and like be on the couch, you know?
Yeah.
I'm so torn about like epics like Game of Thrones when it's like something musically and cinematically going on like
Right.
that's phenomenal. Like it's one of the best productions
Sure.
I've been told, at least by people. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's
okay,
great.
as a artistically that's really interesting, but I can't imagine devoting that much
Yeah, I feel like
time.
I'm like at times I like feel like I'm just
Personally.
wasting my emotions on this TV show.
Right.
You know, like I get
yeah.
this like sense of like, okay, like I was like scared, happy, like depressed, like all these things, and like I didn't actually do anything or talk to anyone or like, and I just don't know if that's necessary for
It's
or it's
strange.
good for your health. You know, like your personal health to like go through a gambit of emotions like that over a TV show.
That's a
you
really
know?
good
I
point.
agree. That's why I can't listen to certain bands because
I
it
mean, I
takes
cry
me
at
away.
like Geico commercials and stuff, man. You can't put me through like Game of Thrones. I'm gonna be a disaster the next day.
Oh my God.
I stopped Breaking Bad because I was getting
Oh, yeah.
dark. Like,
Oh.
I felt dark when I'd wake up in the mornings after watching it.
Oh, I have terrible dreams too.
God.
Like if I watch it before I go to bed, like I couldn't watch Walking Dead or anything like that because
it's
I'm like fighting
interesting.
zombies in my dream, you know. the
And
whole
why are
time.
we so drawn to that? Like as humans, we love seeing that kind of like, or people are kind of gravitate towards that, like those extremes that make you feel an emotional reaction. Is it like?
I think maybe
think it is?
I don't know why exactly, but I mean to maybe pontificate on it a bit would be like the fact that like maybe people in their actual day-to-day lives like just refuse to do any kind of confrontation with anyone a lot of times, you know, like everybody just kind of avoids confrontation. And then like being like separated from it, like that third person type of view, it's like you can see what confrontation looks like, and everybody enjoys confrontation to a certain degree, and some people enjoy it a lot more, like lawyers and, and politicians and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know, maybe that's a little bit of it. It's like something that's a little out of the norm, stuff that you would never do in your normal life. Like
I think
but
we
you're
just crave
watching
excitement.
yeah, and you're like watching
Yeah.
somebody like, okay, maybe you're like a science teacher, right? And like for 5th grade or whatever, and you watch like, you know, Breaking Bad, and you're like, oh, look at all those decisions that he made that I would never make. because they're completely idiotic decisions. But I don't know. I think it's maybe just to watch people do something that they would never actually do themselves. In most cases.
Humans are so interesting. It's just, I think I also when April Rain was on, we were talking about disassociation, and how people like to disassociate from their present too. Like you want to kind of take yourself and just remove it and then just focus on something else so that you're not dealing with your own shit. So that's part of it too. I think people it's fun to watch other drama being played out so you don't have to deal with your own crap that's going on inside.
Right. Yeah, distraction.
Yeah, distraction. Yeah. But yeah, we were talking, we had pretty cool conversation the other day about the Native American culture, and I'm totally just going completely on a different topic now, but hey, it's okay. And I was thinking about how as a society we've become so disconnected from what's going on internally and with our surroundings, just the world around us and nature. And I think we go into this mode where we're so distracted and we're just going into autopilot. There's some people that don't even get outside except for to walk to their car, to walk through the parking lot to get into the grocery store, or to walk into work, and it's that's the extent of it. Otherwise their life is in their home on their couch or in their office where they work. And I was thinking about that the other day, and it's we create these stories around us because we're really not connecting in any way with the world around us and getting out. I think it's really important to get out in nature. I just went on 5 different topics there, but what are your guys' thoughts? Did I make any fucking sense at all?
I agree with you completely. I think that we have definitely become separated from Mother Nature and the Earth in general as a race, and definitely as a society, or as a culture, not necessarily race, but as a culture and society. It's but it's also, I think, I don't know, Joseph, you go ahead. I'm losing track of my thoughts.
Well, it could be argued that it's maybe part of our evolution, but I'm not certain that I'm down with that. I think it's a bad trajectory of something.
Yeah, I've heard people explain
fixed.
the iPhone as a part of human evolution. The iPhone is now part of what we are as an actual being. We're one step close to being kind of an Android type situation, or
we've already merged with artificial intelligence.
Right, yeah, kind of. Yeah,
it's a way absolutely. That we've merged, so and we're already...
the more we become used to it, the more it becomes a normal thing. And
Elon Musk was saying it's the pre-phase of cyborgs.
Right, totally, absolutely.
You can't argue it. You are... yourself is in your phone.
Right.
Things that are important to you, people you know, information.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Things you used to have to remember.
I don't really like it.
Things you used to have an Encyclopedia Britannica to look up. Now you're just click.
I remember laying in bed at night, and my friend and I would be trying to think of somebody, an actor, and we'd just lay in bed until we'd think of it, and we'd call each other at 3 a.m. and be I figured it out. There was no Google. You had to just sit there and think about it for a long time, and then maybe the answer would come to you. But
yeah, it kind of killed the debate, though. We were talking about this the other day. It's because it kind of kills the whole debate, and that was something I enjoy is the debate. Mm-hmm. Having that debate, because whether someone's right or wrong, the actual debate is what's necessary, right? Having the discussion is more important than the actual answer just being fabricated on a electronic device.
Yeah, for sure. And so you guys are both musicians, and it's interesting talking to some of the younger people who are going into music and how they just go on YouTube and watch all these different artists perform and kind of learn their music that way. Do you feel that creates better musicians, or do you feel it almost kind of creates more what is the word I'm thinking of or trying to think of is what I mean, where it's almost kind of copying, copycats, and not tapping into that.
Everybody ends up kind of sounding the same. or something like that.
Yeah, and you're not tapping into like that general flow of like what's supposed to come.
I don't know that
higher
YouTube
accounts.
is the devil in that sense. I think that YouTube is, you know, the fact that you can like look and find like live performances from like, you know, people, you know, from, you know, even back to like the 50s and stuff you can find on YouTube. It's a pretty incredible archive, really, in my opinion.
So it's a good thing in that way.
Yeah, I would think that like in my opinion, anytime you can search out and find exactly what kind of music you want to find, that's always a good thing in my opinion. If you're just listening to I think just listening to the radio or just listening to like a certain, you know, playlist that someone else has contrived is more dangerous than, you know, just being able to find whatever you want on YouTube.
Where you can hone in on what you're actually
I think like if it's like pop music and that's like all that you're listening to, then you're going to end up having that, you know, that's all you know, or, you know, and I mean, or if you listen to like 94.9, I mean, how many, no offense to 94.9, but how many songs do they really play? It's like a 30 song loop half the time.
They're
you know?
all
It's
like that.
You know, so I think that's more dangerous than like the whole YouTube thing. I think it's pretty.
So it's actually kind of a good tool to help you kind of find.
I believe so. I think YouTube's an incredible
YouTube
tool.
has helped me fix all my cars.
See, exactly.
It helped me learn how to play guitar. I fixed my
build a bomb.
air conditioner was leaking in the basement last week. YouTube helped me. It's like I think knowledge is awesome and it should be shared. So any kind of accessible knowledge is rad. But I do think it can, like, I can see it breeding a little bit of inauthenticity, like when you're like exposed to like what's really popular and you see the views, like you feel like, well, maybe if I do something like that, I can get popular too. And so I do think you can kind of smell out an inauthentic. I don't know how to say that. Unauthentic. Mm-hmm. You can kind of feel that though when somebody's just not really playing from their heart.
And a lot of times it's created by the record labels. Like it's not even necessarily.
I think that's
the
more
musician.
the problem. It's big music at this point, and it's like, you know, it's just they have a formula, you know, and they pop out pop songs and. Mm-hmm. And there's just no story behind any pop songs anymore. It's just like one catch to the next catch to the next catch to the next catch, and it's just, what even is this song? Like, you know,
kind of like modern country music.
Well, absolutely.
There's this comedian last night that did a bit on it, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I forget who he was. Like, it's on Netflix.
I mean, literally, there's no chorus, there's no verse, there's no, like, the way that songs have been constructed for really, I mean, songwriting, you know, if you think about, you know, John Prine or Bob Dylan or somebody like that, it's just, I mean, all of it's now, it's literally just like one catchphrase of the next, you know, and they're all like, they all could be the beginning of the song, they all could be the middle, they all could be the end, you know, you don't really, I don't know.
It actually, it feels weird, because I was just venting up to my brother about, like, grew up listening to the structure and like the vibe of like 80s music a lot, and it feels like now that vibe is like, well, it's not fully corny, but it just, I don't know, the way that I think a song should sound or should be written. Like, I love a good intro, like a solid verse, like a killer chorus, like little music back in. I like good structure, but now I feel like everything's just jumbled up, and it's kind of cool.
People blame it on people's attention span. Basically, is why they do it like that. Is because literally people only have like a minute and a half attention span. So if that next phrase doesn't catch them again to keep them listening, then they're over it.
Yeah, they say trim the fat is what producers will. Yeah, we gotta trim the fat on this.
Yeah, do you imagine if someone said that to Neil Young? Like what he would have done to him? Like
we saw what Freddie Mercury said when they said Bohemian Rhapsody was too long.
Right. What did he say? No, I don't know that quote.
Did you watch the movie? I don't exactly
I haven't seen the movie. I heard it was like a kind of glamour music
he was like,
video.
It's like 8 minutes long. Like, this is never going to make the radio. And he's like, he basically told him to F off. And
right.
Like, I think they left because he refused, and then they threw a rock through his window. And like said, you just made the biggest mistake of your life. And then he went to some other dude, and like the guy bumped it on the radio, and it just made him explode.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I like it when people stand their ground for like what they believe
is good.
Yeah, I hate trying to shape something for money or something like that. Like, I would way rather go down the journey of what the musician was feeling and take some time to listen to the song.
Well, yeah, and you were even kind of talking about that the other day, like even when you get offered to play like certain gigs, it's not about the money, it's about if you feel like, oh yeah, this is something that I should do.
Yeah.
And when you take like the whole money thing out of it, I mean, granted, you need to make money as an artist, you know, and it's hard sometimes to get to put value on that for certain people, like, you know, but when you're doing it from your heart and you're doing it with like pure intentions of just really wanting to share and create and give people an experience, and you take the money bullshit out of it. Yeah, I just...
I have a song about this if you want to
yeah.
segue into it real quick.
Sure.
Let's do it.
I just wrote this one a few months ago, and it's kind of on topic, so I thought maybe it'd be a good segue.
Yeah.
I like a good segue.
Not the
other
not the
segue.
electronic.
Not the one that got driven, or didn't the guy like end up going off a cliff?
What?
Didn't you hear about that? The guy that invented the Segway accidentally rolled off a cliff and died.
No.
Yikes.
That's a true story, I think. I might be wrong. Maybe it was just an urban legend.
Sorry, I'm tuning.
No, it's all good.
Should be good enough for a jazz. I was standing on a back porch with a view all the way to Tennessee. Well, hailing through my old binoculars, I could see all the lights and all the ladies. Oh, and with the bright moonlight, you could see the shady money running through the streets. I tell you, but money, it don't motivate me. I was standing on a mountaintop with a view all the way across the sea. Hailing through my old telescope, I could see all the land and all of the greed. I tell you, if war's the answer, you can count me out, I'll hang with the ladies. I tell you, 'cause money, it don't motivate me. I tell you, money, it don't motivate me. I tell you, money, it don't motivate me. I ain't owned, I ain't held, there ain't nothing I won't yell at the top of my lungs, at the top of my lungs. Money, it don't motivate me. I was standing on a skyscraper, you could see all the cities of the world in just one peek. I tell you, and through that rusty keyhole, you can see that concrete going up every week. I tell you, if concrete's the answer, you can count me out, I'm headed for the trees. I tell you, 'cause money, it don't motivate me. I tell you, money, it don't motivate me. I tell you, money, it don't motivate me. I ain't owned, I ain't held, there ain't nothing I won't yell at the top of my lungs, at the top of my lungs. Money, it don't motivate me. One of those.
Nice.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Very fitting.
Yeah, very. I told you it was on point.
It was totally on point.
Yeah, and that's like one of those times where, like, you know, where you get frustrated because, like, the more you get into the music business, it's the more money gets involved, you know, and like the more popular you get, the more money gets involved, like, and you know, the more people you have to have on your staff or in your band, or and I kind of lost focus a little bit, like, because that's kind of because I basically was just really broke for a really long time. And I got tired of being broke. But, yeah, I'm coming back around to that with the whole lack of 40-hour job now and stuff like that. But
Yeah. So what
try to
motivated
pursue
you?
your passion as opposed to...
Yeah, what motivated
Market.
you to just take the leap?
Well, it was a disagreement with the owners at the job, but and it, but that it's been on my mind for a while, and it's just it's like you don't want to ever be no offense to if you're a career bartender by any means, and I don't think mixology is a thing, just personally, but like to me it's like it's not what I wanted to be for the rest of my life, it's like I don't, and it's like I want to find something to do with music, something to do with my passion, and I think that it's been really good because I've seen a lot of doors open, like we were talking. Like you can when you are going down the right path, you do see a lot of doors open in front of you instead of slamming, and that because everybody I've reached out to has just been really excited, and it's really cool. But yeah, that song was written 4 or 5 months ago, and just kind of it was more out of frustration because I felt like money was my motivation. And I was like trying to tell myself that that's not what motivates you. Like, so.
The golden handcuffs of money keeps us tethered to things that no longer serve us.
For
It's not
sure.
good. It's not good.
Yeah. And it can be very hard to break.
I drop that off on like the first date sometimes just to like
Yeah.
see the reaction.
Yeah.
I've literally just said like, I don't care about making money.
Yeah.
And most people are actually kind of down with that actually so far.
No, I totally
I'm
agree.
still single, so maybe not.
Yeah, I would rather have someone who doesn't care about money than somebody who that's their focus.
Right.
Like somebody who's like, so there's a difference. There's like people who don't care about money in the sense that they'll live off the dole and they'll like expect other people to like take care of them, or they'll live in their mom's basement until they're like 50. Like there's that category, and then there's people who are that's not what motivates them in the morning. They don't get up and like think about like, oh, I need to make a lot of money today. They're like, I need to do what makes me happy, and I need to do what makes me fulfills me.
Right.
And that
trust
to
that
me
the
is
finances
so
will
much
come.
more.
Yeah,
They will just come somehow.
I agree. And yeah.
And if they don't, maybe you're following the wrong path. Or
That's-
whatever,
It's so true though. When you're on the right path, it just happens. Like even with this podcast, like I had the idea for a long time. I was talking to this other guy who was gonna like help me out. It fell through, and then somehow I ended up kind of bringing it up to Brian, and then he got me in touch with Scott, and then since then it's just been like people coming into my path left and right that are perfect to bring on, and it hasn't even taken any effort. Thankfully Scott, thank God for Scott. But as far as getting people to come on, there's been zero effort. It's been the same thing with like my painting. Like I've just done it out of love for expressing myself. And through that, I've had doors opening that I wasn't expecting to come into my path because I wasn't looking for it. It just happened. So I feel like when you're pursuing what you're passionate about, things just kind of, I don't know, it's almost like the synchronicities start occurring and you realize, oh, I'm swimming against with the stream instead of against it. Because when you're swimming against the stream, you're going to constantly be just pushing and pulling and just trying to like force something that isn't supposed to be the natural flow of things. And I think there's a huge difference with that.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and it's just that initial wake up in the morning. Yeah, what do you think about in the morning? Are you going to your job and make sure that you can buy a jet boat to have fun on the, or are you going to your job because you love it? Are you going to your, when you wake up in the morning, do you care about your employees or do you care about the bottom line? Like it's, that kind of difference. Because I mean, there are a ton of successful people out there that I think are, more morally conscionable and more morally on the right path of their life or whatever,
Right.
But they just happen to have, success because of, like you said, they're following the flow.
Because they're doing what they
And
love.
but you have to be kind of
enjoying it.
selfless as well, and I think that's a lot of it.
Yes.
Because a lot of business owners become the more money you have, the more greedy you get, the more selfish you get, right?
That's a huge thing. That's a huge problem. I can't. I used to have this client who she basically managed investments for like millionaire, like big top millionaire dudes. And she said all they like to do is just sit around and watch their money grow.
Right.
And she got to a point where she's like, I can't do this job anymore. This is miserable. Like, all I'm doing is helping these guys just get richer, and all it is a number to them. And it's like this power thing. And yeah, I mean, there's no value in that. It doesn't make you a better person, what you have in your bank account. What makes you a good person is when you're like, I think the biggest thing is like helping others and being kind to others, and when you get to that point where you're just all like solely focused on money and greed and power, everything else just kind of gets pushed to the side, and you stop being what makes you human, in my opinion. It's just an opinion. I could be wrong, but
Yeah. Well, you just hope that, like, their children at least are, like, philanthropists or something.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully somebody down the line will figure it out.
All my
Start giving back.
Out of all the students I've had, I've noticed that it's the ones with the least money that are the most passionately interested and devoted into the instrument. But it's like the millionaires with the mansions and stuff. And they're not, they don't have poor intentions, I don't think. But inevitably, for some reason, their kids have very poor attention spans and don't seem to care or have much
Maybe
of a
because
desire.
they don't, and their parents were just like, well, we can afford it. Let's put them in
Yeah.
guitar lessons or whatever.
Dude, totally, yeah.
that's it. It's
Where if it's like
Yeah.
if you're from a poorer family, then you're probably begging your mom for the last like 3 years to put you in guitar
Yeah.
lessons, or
Yeah,
whatever.
but how interesting is it if there's like 10 million Legos off to the left and you're sitting with your guitar instructor learning a G?
Right? Yeah.
You want
Totally.
to go over there and play with the robot Legos or whatever.
right.
Which isn't bad. That's pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
Anything that makes you use your imagination is good, I think. That's the
Yeah.
problem with like growing up and the pursuit of wealth and all that kind of stuff. But makes people rigid and gives them something to defend and kind of shifts like the innocent flow that I think humans should function at.
Yeah.
Because like in order to make money or to grow, somebody has to decrease.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
and that's a fucked up thought.
Yeah, for sure.
Like somebody has to, and I don't know, I forget the exact way to explain it, but the idea is if you want more from the pool, somebody's going to get less from the pool.
Which is a
eventually.
huge problem in our country alone. I mean, it's really turning into like two classes. There's the rich and the poor.
Yeah, I mean, it's a oligarchy.
I want an honest living. I do like having money so I can like buy food or
Right.
fix my car if it breaks down or
It's a
something.
necessary thing, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, but yes.
But then think about, people who are, okay, so like you get in a situation where you're married and you have kids, and then it stops being about you too. It's also like, I have to make enough money to support my family and like take care of them. And then it's almost like can tend to go towards like that's their sole purpose, is providing for their family.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it's just it's a vicious cycle. What is the word or the phrase, like everyone's kind of walking around in quiet desperation?
Yeah.
And I think that's so true. It's like we're all just desperately craving something that isn't part of Western society right now, and part of capitalism, and part of this almost kind of an isolating culture we live in, where everything is about kind of me-centric and like I need to, get to the next level. And I don't know, I'm going off on a tangent a little bit, but
Yeah, I think it's definitely an honest discussion that needs to be had on like to the highest levels if possible. But yeah, I mean you can, even if you were just like make it very real and tell what I consider to be the truth of the oligarchy, for the last 200 years has been trying to bring us down, if not longer than that, and right now they're highly succeeding, in my opinion. We're extremely divisive, like on a lot of different levels, and in terms of American society, people that used to be able to send their kids to college can't send their kids to college anymore. Everybody's living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, it takes, I can't think of any of my close friends that don't live paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I have a few, but not very many.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're not working hard. They're working just as hard as people worked 20 years ago or 30 years ago when they used to be able to support a family on this wage, and now it's like not only is the husband and the wife and like all 4 kids working, you still you're still going paycheck to paycheck. I mean, they're turning us into slaves. I mean, it sucks, but it's like, even when you're aware of it, it's like, I don't really know what to do because I want to vote, but the whole electoral college and gerrymandering seems like, when the guy that wins the popular vote or the lady that wins the popular vote from last time,
get me started.
It's like, how are you gonna, I don't want to drift off into politics, but that's where it stems from. It's just like, yeah, everybody's kind of, I think everybody's lost in a spiritual sense as well as like just like as society and where they fit and what their purpose is. It's like,
Agreed.
nationalism.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's so make America great again, and it's like, well, give me a way, come up with an idea, don't just say that. It's like, how are you remember when they'd be like, not what your country can do for you but what you can do for your country? Like, what happened to that? No one ever says that anymore. Everybody's like, gimme, I'm not gonna do anything.
So much division between people. I mean, all of it. There's so much aggression and hostility between people's beliefs, and I don't know. I just see that almost growing instead of what we really need to do is where we need to band together and start not even fighting back, but just standing up for ourselves.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point where it's getting ridiculous. There is a huge problem.
Yeah.
And it's getting worse.
I had a thought on it though.
What's your thought?
About how bad it is. Walking to the grocery store yesterday. Everything in creation undergoes some turmoil or turbulence or pressure, intense pressure when a seed splits from the heat of the sun. When it's warmed up in the soil, even the universe was formed under insane pressure and heat, and so I think everything is all just a different manifestation of the same source. So I was wondering, maybe what's going on in humanity is necessary for the evolution of consciousness to flower.
I 100%
And right now
agree.
we're in the breaking point where we can't take the pressure that our egos have put on ourselves. So there's this rapid shift where the budding of consciousness is about to blossom in the new age.
Yeah.
Where we're not so nationalistic, but we think about our planet. I feel like that's coming.
I think so too.
It's kind of a nice way to think about it.
No, I totally agree with you. I think this younger generation is coming in to save our planet. That's going to be their job.
If they don't end up being selfish.
It's you have to hit a bottom in order to go up. And that's kind of where we're at, is we're at this bottom. And, that's where we can expand, is when we kind of get to this point where we're pushed so far down, you can only go up. And that's I totally agree with you. I think there's something, I don't have this doom and gloom sense about the future, but I'm definitely nervous to see how it's going to play out, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of chaos before the balance comes, or I don't know.
If Mother Nature has her way, there'd definitely be a lot of chaos.
Yeah, we have 12 years before
And you can already see it. It's the weather's absurd.
Yeah. It's
like
bad.
when it's hailing in Mexico in like May. It's like, not hailing, but hailing like 4 feet of hail.
Yeah.
Like where it looks like snow on the ground.
We're tearing down rainforests and
like,
building
it's
palm tree,
it's
you know,
extreme, man.
palm farms so that we can
only gonna
make
get
more
worse.
processed
I
shit.
mean, hurricanes are gonna get bigger. I mean,
It'd be insanity.
try to
of
keep
greed.
up on with technology, but Mother Nature will win every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're just like, we're...
And
I
I
feel
mean,
like the
that's
planet's-
just natural disasters. I mean, then you got to think about like disease. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
you know, God, I can't. People that don't vaccinate their children, I don't want to go on that. But that's absolutely absurd to me. I don't get that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, what happens when there's a flu virus that we can't cure and it wipes out half our population? You know.
And that's what
We'll be
happens
better
when
off,
we're
probably.
so like we're so fearful of everything. We don't trust. We've stopped trusting vaccines. Like we don't know if they're trying to kill us with vaccines.
Yeah, they're
like
giving us autism or whatever.
That's the thing, though. It's like it's become such a scary world to live in. Like
paranoid.
you can't trust, you know, the pharmaceutical industry anymore. So then it comes to a point where you don't even want to vaccinate your kids, and that's where it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's where fear mongering has
bananas.
worked. You know, it has worked 100%. Like, yeah.
It could be looked at both ways, but obviously I think I would agree with the fact that we've come a long ways being able to shut down diseases. But then you also have like the nerdiest kids in school that are always the ones getting the most sick because they're not out in the dirt playing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's that side of it too that like sometimes I wonder about, like even down to like gross things, like people are like, oh, plaque is bad for your teeth. Well, yeah, it smells gross and doesn't look good, but why would your body make it? I don't know. Like, I just like
think it's
have
just-
this weird.
I think it's not necessarily your body that
argument.
makes it. That's the
It's
thing
the
about plaque.
sugars
Yeah,
and
like-
stuff.
like
like,
Yeah,
getting
it's
stuck in
like
your
the
teeth.
natural decay of we're living longer than we've ever lived. Like people used to live for like 30, 40 years and that was it. Like now we're living older, so we have to take care of this shit. We have to take care of our teeth and like our skin, like from getting cancer. Like it's just I think a lot of it has to do with how long we're living, but now it's actually, this is the first time in history where we've actually started going backwards, and the mortality rate is starting to get, and a lot of it has to do with the drugs. People are dying in suicide, and the foods we're eating, but it's actually, I think, I don't know where I heard this, but I heard that our mortality rate is actually,
We're expected to live less years.
yeah,
Yeah.
the future generation is supposed to the generation, like our generation is supposed to outlive the future generation, is what they're saying.
stress and anxiety are killers in the internet.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
like a breeding
God.
ground for things
Yeah.
to be concerned about. How can you be in a relationship? It's really hard to trust somebody when you meet them and they're always getting hit up by, I don't know, like social media is alone just like messes with so many things.
I like to
Yeah.
use social media as a
Stressed out
tool
individuals.
whenever possible, Yeah, and not try to get. And this is about a year ago, but I deleted. I didn't delete I unfollowed all of my friends. So I literally unfollowed except for immediate family.
So you could keep
Yeah.
it to
A couple
sign
other
up for
people.
everything.
And then basically it gets it to where it's just this is just Facebook, I guess. I don't think, because my newsfeed was just political, unresearched bullshit, or it would be someone talking about their personal life or challenges, and I'm
Oh
just
my God, I
oh my
can't
God, I don't.
stand.
First of all, it's you don't have anyone in your life that you can call on the phone, like your
I don't
grandma,
need- yeah.
whoever, hopefully your mother or your father. If you don't have that, then somebody you should be able to reach out and talk to somebody.
That
about
shows
this,
me, a
instead of
level
posting
of
this on.
loneliness.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, and it's
Loneliness.
depressing for me to
But
see.
also narcissistic.
Right,
where
'cause
it's
they want us-
everybody
yeah.
needs to know about my shit. It is a really weird
It's
thing.
something that I don't understand, because I would never
No.
post anything personal like that. And even I don't know. I think it's really weird, the fact that people that are dead still have Facebooks too.
I know.
That always creeps me out sometimes.
It sucks.
Yeah, and
dude.
then one of your friends will post something on their wall during their anniversary of their death, and you're just come on, is that really how you want to remember this person? Why don't we get together and talk about him or talk about her and the stories that happened? I don't think we're not helping anybody out by
Yeah, I just
posting
really
on their
agree.
Facebook feed. But
I feel bad because I didn't like say thank you or anything this year after my birthday rolled around on Facebook. And in the past years, I like
so
responded
bad.
to every single one. And,
Oh,
like,
Yeah.
thought about the person, but like
try to, yeah.
I'm just like they probably don't even remember. They probably just saw a notification. It was like,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, most
know.
likely. Yeah, I mean, if they did,
just
if they
want
are your
real
friend, they
life.
probably would text you. I always try to
I
like
was gonna-
text or call.
I was going to say, that's what I do. If I see someone, because I forget birthdays all the time, maybe even my family members, I'm really bad with dates. But I'll get like the notification. Yeah, I forgot oh my God, my ex-fiance, like I forgot his birthday.
I think
It's
that's
a great
allowed. That's
story.
allowed.
My ex-fiance, I forgot his birthday.
And
The
it didn't.
end.
And it didn't work out. And it didn't. Well, anyways, but yeah, like I always try to text the person, and yeah, Facebook is more like, I don't know.
It's a tool. It should be used as a tool. That's how they use it. Why are we not using it that way? You know,
Yeah.
it's like.
In the blur.
I mean,
of,
some
like-
people are. Some people definitely are. Some people use like social media to promote their businesses or promote themselves if they're employed, which I think is a completely justified way to use it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Except for when
To
it gets
spread information. Like I think Anthony Bourdain described it as like it's like the bathroom wall of this generation, you know, because you can post anything you want onto it.
Yeah.
So and that's also why you have to be able to decipher and like
Yeah.
how you have to be able to like see what what do you actually want to present? What information do you want presented to you?
Yeah.
Try to control that and not just let them present whatever. But
because if you don't use it as a tool, it could end up using you. And you
absolutely,
become
and
the
that's what they
tool.
want. Yeah.
Yeah.
You literally become a tool. No one wants to be that.
No way.
Yeah. And I have to say, sorry, Zach, for bringing that up because I know you listen to this podcast. And you're one of our number one fans. And you probably forgot that I forgot your birthday.
Happy
Anyways.
belated birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
This is an honest podcast, people.
Getting real. God.
It's easy to forget things. I forget stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes
My sister's really good about reminding me about birthdays when it comes to family, so I'm always thankful for that. She always like texts me or something. She's like, "It's Dad's birthday today." I'm like, "Oh,
Well,
make sure
yeah.
I'll call him." I had this really awesome birthday one time. I will tell the story though. I mean, I've had several awesome birthdays. This one was awesome in like kind of a strange way. Because I'm in college. I went to Western Illinois University, and so my grandparents lived in the town, but like none of my immediate family lived in this town. Like my parents were still in Jackson, Mississippi, and my sister was out here in Boise, and I don't know. It was like I think I woke up on the couch, like a buddy's couch that we got drunk the night before. You know, went out for my birthday at like 12 or whatever, and it wasn't like my 21st. I think it was like my 22nd or 23rd birthday. And anyway, so I woke up on like my buddy's couch and like my phone's ringing and it's my Uncle Chuck, and I'm like, oh, it's Uncle Chuck. He's probably wishing me happy birthday, you know. So I pick up the phone and I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's like, Dave, where the hell are you at? And I'm like, I'm in Illinois. I'm like, where are you at? He was like, oh, wrong Dave. Click. Hangs up. I'm like, okay, no big deal. I'm not gonna get mad about this. So then like maybe like a couple hours later, my mom calls me, and she's like, I pick up the phone. I'm like, hey mom, how's it going? And she's like, David, I just wanted to make sure that you know what your flight information is for tomorrow, because I was flying, because my birthday's right around Thanksgiving, and I was flying home for Thanksgiving. And I'm like, yeah, mom, got the flight information. She's like, okay, just make sure you don't, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you go say goodbye to your grandparents or something like that. And I'm like, okay, I will. And she's like, okay, see you later.
no.
Click. And I'm just like,
Oh my
okay.
God.
I'm like, okay. No big deal. No big deal, you know.
Fine.
And then like seriously, like an hour and a half later, my dad calls me. And he basically gives me kind of the same lecture that my mom just gave me, like trying to get me to remember like certain things. And there was something like he wanted me to do like financially for the school. Like I had to go do something, like I don't even remember what it was. It was some kind of money thing, because he's like the money person in my family. So it was some kind of money thing, and he was like making sure I did it. And I was just like, okay, cool. And then he was just like, all right, see you later. Click. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, are you serious? Like, is everybody in my family gonna call me today and like not say happy birthday? Because every single time I'm just like assuming that they're calling me for my birthday, you know?
Yeah.
And then
That's hilarious.
seriously, like 4 or 5 hours later, like right before I'm going to catch my flight, my sister calls me to make sure that I'm like at the airport and that like I'm gonna be on time and all this stuff. And I'm just like,
Surprise party. Huh?
and then no.
I was like,
No,
that's
nothing. No, they all just forgot. They literally all forgot. No, I mean they knew it was my birthday, but they just forgot to like say something. You know, they were very aware that it was my birthday, but it was more important that they made sure that I was gonna.
Worse.
I know.
That
Yeah.
would feel deeply afflicting in a very tender way.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, you know, I'm not like a super birthday oriented person, really. You know, I don't make a big deal out of it.
It's
like,
the one day of the year. That
you know,
get
but
to
I'm just
feel a
like,
little special.
yeah, you got it. I mean, and then I mean, I think eventually they all did call me back, like before I got home and like apologize. I think before even like the next person had called. I think my mom called back like 15 minutes after she had called and was just like, David, I'm sorry I didn't say happy birthday. Like I was like, okay, thanks, Mom. Like, but you know, so it wasn't like too terrible. But it was just like, especially my uncle, and he was like, Dave, where the fuck are you at? And apparently he was like. I called him later and I was like, what the hell, man? I was like, what was that, dude? And apparently it was like he was traveling with his buddy named Dave, and they were in an airport, and he had like run over to the Starbucks to get a cup of coffee, and they were like going to close the gate, you know? So he was trying to call him, and he just like looked up the wrong person on his contacts or whatever. But yeah, that was a bad one. So I always try to remember to call my family members, but that was a bad one though.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah.
What would we do without like getting notifications about things?
I know.
Like,
well, that's what I was saying. My sister's my notification.
I don't even have to remember anything anymore. Like,
yeah, that's
all
why
my
we're
clients
Androids.
go through my online booking system. They're all plugged in, and
it's my Rolodex. Facebook's like my Rolodex. Like sometimes, like I'm just like I'll be rolling into a place that I hadn't been in a while, and I'll be like, God, what's the owner's name? And I'll just like look it up on Facebook and figure out what the owner's name is. You know, just so I don't feel awkward.
yeah.
Especially if you met somebody more than like a dozen times.
Yeah.
And people always remember my name. Like, I don't know if I'm just like a more memorable person or like, you know, because a lot of times it'll be like we're playing music or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's like people have this really memorable moment of you and they remember your name, and like it's just kind of, it's way more of a big deal for them than it is for someone, you know. It's not like I'm not saying
exactly what
it's
you're
not like
trying to
it's not like
say,
I don't
yeah.
appreciate them as a fan or as a music fan or whatever, but it's just, you know, it happens all the time, you know, like it kind of just gets a little bit dissolved after a while, where it's like, you know, I mean, I can count on both, I mean, you know, maybe on one hand, like the 5 times that like I just, you know, that I really felt inspired like performing music, you know, and then there's a bunch of other times where I'm sure I inspired somebody while I was performing music, but I definitely wasn't feeling necessarily that inspired. You know?
What drew you to music in the first place, and what drew you to playing the cello? Because I think that's so badass.
Cello was a pretty basic little boy type scenario where my sister had she's a year and a half older than me, so we're really close in age, and we're still really close in terms of relationship, but she picked up the violin, and my mom was like, well, you can choose from these instruments, and I basically, you know, I was looking and I was like, well, that cello's a lot bigger than that violin. I wanted to play the cello because basically it was bigger than my sister's instrument. That was
And
the
how
reason
cool
I
that you
chose it.
stuck
awesome.
with it, though. Because, like, I played the flute, and I think...
Well, there's a lot of credit that goes to my parents for that. I mean, I was like, what did my mom used to call me? A Renaissance man, I guess, or whatever, when I was like, you know, so I played like soccer, basketball, baseball, like cello, you know, and I was doing them all, like, you know, on Saturday would be like, I would go play a soccer game, and then I would go like to a choir performance, and then I had like a cello competition that I was in later that night, you know, that code, so it was just kind of constant activities going on, but it was definitely like my mom would kind of not necessarily like, she didn't like force me, but she would highly reward me if I did practice. Like, so like we did like one thing that was like, if you practice for 100 days straight, we're gonna go on this big thing, you know, we're gonna go to the water park or whatever it is, you know, that kind of deal. And just, it's just kind of like that 30 minutes a day, even an hour, 30 minutes to an hour a day. If you're sitting there and you're doing that, then you will get better at an instrument.
And then once you get good at something, it becomes fun.
Yeah,
because then you're
absolutely.
just like, you feel good doing it. It's not as much effort, and then also you get response from others.
Right, yeah, totally.
Like going to the
Feedback.
gym.
But yeah, so that was the whole cello thing, and I was always just kind of drawn to music. My mom played piano. My dad's like, he plays guitar, you know, to a certain degree. It was never like my whole family's biologists, so They're scientists for the most part. Science and art are close, but
I think
and they,
so, yeah.
and I think they always say that like a blue collar worker raises a scientist, and then scientist raises an artist, and an
Yeah.
artist raises a DJ or something. I don't know what it is.
Raises another business.
Yeah. But my parents definitely helped to encourage me toward music and expressing and painting. I mean, I entered like you talking about painting. Like I entered a bunch of like we used to my sister and I did watercolor for the most part, but we would enter like state fair competitions, and I think I got like third place for like this watercolor fish painting I did when I was like 12 years old. And
Dude, I used to paint when I was that age too. I was obsessed with it.
yeah, see,
like oil paints and stuff.
it's super fun. Yeah, and
Yeah.
if, as long as you have like good parents that can encourage you, kids are super willing to. I mean, I was stoked to do pretty much anything. And there wasn't an iPhone or a screen in front of my face to distract me, so I had to find another way.
Oh god, yeah, I had a similar upbringing. We had an art center in town, and my mom I think basically just loved the fact that she could get us out of the house all day, so she'd drop me off and I'd take pottery and painting and I tried sports. I was terrible at them, but I tried everything. So I think that's so good. That's how you find what you love to do, is to try a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and I think there is like I think that parents, not necessarily all parents, I'm not going to put everybody into a group like that, but I see it more often, I guess, in today's world, like where parents are like, okay, like let's try this, and then the kid's like, oh yeah, I don't really like it. It's like, well, you didn't really try it. You got to stick with it for a little bit. Like you said, like it's gonna be a struggle when you first start, but then once you're good at it and you get that actual joy from it, that part comes way past it. Like, and you can't really think that a kid's gonna have that kind of willpower or that
discipline.
or that kind of discipline to do that. That's your job as a parent, to provide him with that, to help him have that kind of willpower. And I mean, my parents did, like they would, like, you're not going outside to play until you practice your cello for an hour, or something like that. And it's like they just kind of force you to do it. You can say it's forcing your kid to do it, but it's like, I'm very thankful they forced me to do it, because I wouldn't have forced myself. I was a kid, like I'm going to go play with the Legos. I'm going to go play outside and, with my friends or whatever, and I'm not worried about the cello, but like that cello later in life is going to bring you a lot more joy than your friends or the Legos are,
We're just so restless and distracted.
Yeah.
I feel like those two words really sum up like a lot of what living in today's society is all about. It's like we're distracted and we're restless. We can't stay committed to one thing, whether it be relationships or whether it be jobs, anything. We're always like, I don't know, trying to find the next best thing, trying to find something to excite us. And it's like that restlessness is for sure a huge issue. I don't know.
I was homeschooled. We used to start every morning with music before like the curriculum. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I would just hop on the bongos or the drum set and
Right.
I would play guitar, and my mom would like lead it with piano. It was fun.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, church was a big one for me too. Like I was baptized Lutheran, and my mom's parents were pretty religious, like Lutheran, which is like kind of a Protestant version of Catholics. There's a lot of like structure and stuff to the religion, but it's not Catholic. But it's very similar to the Catholic religion in terms of like it's meant like how the church is performed and stuff. But when we moved to Mississippi, I was only like a year old, and because we were born in Carbondale, Illinois, which is like southern Illinois, which is beautiful if you ever get a chance. It's a really awesome part of the country. And I think the next eclipse is there, but it's in the lower 48. But anyway, so we moved down there, and my mom immediately, like, she likes church for the same reason that everybody loves church, right? It helps, like, cultivate community. You can immediately find friends if you're moving into a new community. So she basically joined us up for the Methodist church. I was in it's a county seat, but in little Raymond, Mississippi. I mean, I think it's like, I don't know how many people are there. I think it's like 1,500, maybe 2,000 or something. Pretty small little town. And so this is like, performed, like I sang soprano in the church at like 6 years old. Like I was up there with like all the like some of the black ladies, and everybody, so
That's awesome.
And my buddy Cole McCollum at the time, he was he liked to sing too. So like we were just like we were literally in the church choir with the grown adults at like a very young age.
That's
like
amazing, dude.
yeah.
What a cool upbringing.
Yeah, it was cool.
Vocally.
And yeah, it helped a lot. And like my first voice teacher was the organist for the church and stuff like that. So yeah, that definitely helped to cultivate. And then my mom and like her, what became like one of her best friends is they basically started like a youth musical program in the church and stuff. So we had like a youth choir as well and that kind of stuff. But yeah, choir's always been a big thing for me. I've sung in a lot of
Are you
choirs.
serious, dude? I'm just like, the more I get to know you, I'm like, why haven't we been hanging out? I love choir music, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like probably one of my favorite genres, dude.
Cool, man.
It's so good. I love singing it. I love listening to it. It's like the pinnacle of the human achievement.
Yeah, it taught me a lot for sure. Because there's no, you're part of this like massive force, and you have to like listen to like everybody around you and like just fit right and like even like tone wise. Like in college, it was interesting because like I did like performance, so I studied the Italian method of singing, so like operatic singing, and because that was the only thing they offered, that or like musical theater, and I tried musical theater for like the first year, and then I just realized I couldn't be peers with these people for the rest of my life. To be honest, like
theater is definitely a breed of its own.
It's a breed of its own.
Yeah,
for sure.
and it's like, and I love the theater. Don't get me wrong. I mean, when I get older, I'll probably do like a lot of community theater and stuff like that. I've even thought about getting back into it in Boise, but probably not necessarily in the singing method. I mean, I like singing too, but I like to have just I did a lot of regular acting in community college too, where I was just not non-singing, dramatic acting, I guess, and. But anyway, like, so I went into the, and plus one of the teachers that I really liked, Terry Chastain, he taught the Italian method of singing, and not like necessarily the musical theater style of singing, which I think in the long run was very beneficial because like basically the Italian method of singing just teaches you how to use your own voice. It doesn't try to put on anything, you're just trying to express exactly what your larynx sounds like, basically, what your voice sounds like through your freaking head, and they're not trying to like make you sound like anything like, there's no like straight tone there, it's very natural vibrato that occurs and stuff like
Relax
that.
your shoulders.
And, but I can't remember exactly. So I did that, and when I came to Boise, I actually tried to do, I was in Opera, Idaho for a while, and I was just in the chorus. And then I decided that I couldn't be peers with these people for the rest of my life. It was just like the ego that these people would have, and I had been like I've seen some really so I know people that can sing, and I'm not gonna say I'm rarely impressed by people singing, but I'm rarely like inspired by really rarely inspired by someone's voice,
Yeah.
and to like have these people that came in, these like guest artists that would come in to sing the lead roles in these operas and stuff, and just their egos and like how cool they thought they were, and like how they kind of treat, like there was, I'm not saying like I'm not putting them all in a group, but there were some of them that were very cool, but like some of them would just treat the chorus like it was their tool and not like we were people, and it was just kind of like, I was just like, is this like, I could just kind of see that like this only gets worse the higher up you go. I guarantee
felt that
it.
in the audience at performances, and when the certain guest people come in, you can tell they're authentic and you can feel the music.
Right.
But some of them, you can feel like
they separated themselves.
so.
They think they think they can hold it by themselves. Like I don't need anyone else's help. That's how good I am.
It happens in the workforce too, when it's like the boss treats everyone like they're working for him, but they don't matter. It's the same thing. But then if you treat everyone as you're part of the team.
Right.
Yeah, because if you guys sang a different page, he would sound like shit.
Right, totally. I mean, or whatever it is. For me, it's like, do you really want the chorus going around and telling all their friends? I mean, word of mouth, man. I'm going to go tell people that you're a jerk. It's going to happen. Or she's a jerk. It goes both ways. But, and so I don't know. And I just kind of had a couple bad experiences. Not necessarily. And then there was one director that I didn't really like because he had like a dangly earring, and I just wasn't a big fan of that. No offense, but to dangly.
I was going to say, Joseph, I think wears a dangly earring.
Yeah, but see, you're not directing an opera either. So.
No one works in it.
Yeah, see, it works on certain people.
Yeah.
See, I'm making judgment calls based on not his. I'm basing it on his appearance, based on what it should be based on, which is his character. That's actually what I'm judging.
Well, it probably wasn't.
was like something that was related to his ego, probably, or
Yeah.
something that was like, for God's sakes,
Yeah.
dude.
It just was the
Yeah.
icing on the cake.
Yeah,
The
it's one of those
Just wanna
things.
rip it out.
douchebagery that he was
Yeah.
walking
Yeah,
around.
it's okay. You're on the right page, yes.
I
Exactly.
feel you.
Well, you probably wasn't your path then, right?
No, it was.
If it felt wrong, it wasn't right.
But I mean, it did teach me how to sing, and I want to be able to sing for the rest of my life. And I don't think if I had gone through that training that I would have as much potential to sing like until I'm pretty much dead.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, you stress your voice out like if you don't use it properly.
Yeah.
It won't last you very long. There was a couple older ladies that like were in the choir with me actually in Raymond that they would you basically kind of like lose control over it, like where you can't like because your muscles get like really weak.
Yeah.
And so they would just be like they can't like hold a pitch. So like, ooh, ooh. It's like, and I remember like thinking and I like saw it like get worse, like develop, like actually get worse, as I knew them and as they got older. And I just remember thinking like, God, I really don't want that to happen to my voice.
Thank God they're still singing though.
Yeah,
They're
I
not
know.
letting it get in the way.
Yeah, and I mean, no one would ever say anything to
Yeah.
them. It's like sing your heart out, that's the whole point
Yeah.
of it. But
It adds a little bit of like tremolo to the choir, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool.
exactly.
Yeah.
But
like an
anyway.
aged
A little chorus
wine.
here and there. No pun intended.
Gosh. Well, it was so fun having you here, David, and thanks again,
Yeah.
Joseph. So fun shooting the shit with you guys. And we're gonna wrap up here, but tune in next week for another episode.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm standing on a back porch with a view all the way to Tennessee. Well, hailing through my old binoculars, I can see all the lights and all the ladies. Oh, and with the bright moonlight, you can see the shady money running through the streets. I tell you, but money, it don't motivate me.
The Outer Fringe was recorded at Triii-Point Studios. Copyright 2019. All rights reserved. Statements and opinions made on the show do not necessarily reflect the views or beliefs of Triii-Point Studios or its members.
Hailing through my old telescope, I can see all the land and all of the green.